makes you think I can't fit in this car?
Because the car is small in the back.
My best friend has a Benz that's newer than this that I can fit in. That's the same size.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't.
So you really telling me I'm too big to get in your car, so I gotta order another lift?
Yeah. And to be more specific with you, I got very tired tires.
What I got to do with your tires?
Yeah, and you have no space.
How you know I don't have no space?
Yeah, I got no space in the back, believe me.
How do you know I don't have no space?
Because I've tried before.
Huh?
Because I've been in this situation.
So every big person you turn down because they can't fit in your car?
Yeah, because they need to order the Uber XL it's called.
No, I don't never have to order Uber XL.
Then I'm really sorry.
What's your name?
Abraham Caricature.
Okay. Nope.
What's going on? Nice to meet you.
Hi, how are you?
Stormy, how you doing? Peace, King. How you, brother? You good? Nice to meet you, Keys.
Got it.
Yep. This the only seat y'all got?
What you want? What you need?
There's one more.
A bigger chair or something?
Cause she already little.
We had
That's what I'm talking about. Good. This is accommodation.
There you go.
Oh.
No, you walked in and you said the chair was too small, so we had to bring the part of the sectional for you to sit in. And you said something. You said, now this is what I'm talking about, accommodations, right?
Yes.
But we live in a world that's not always going to be able to accommodate people that are
But we
plus
should,
size.
though. We should because.
Hi beautiful ladies, welcome back to my channel. So I want to talk about the Dank Demoss situation. Dank Demoss is the name of the young lady who is currently suing Lyft. She also is a rapper, so Dank Demoss is her stage name. So I've noticed that in a lot of her songs, she raps about, being confident, being a BBW rapper pretty much. That's pretty much what she raps about, being a BBW rapper, how she's not ashamed of her size. In some of her songs, she says that, people are jealous of her and whatnot.
I'm that bitch. It ain't no capping me, ain't talking about shit. Why hoes be mumbling? Pay fat queen. These bitches under me. Fine. I put up with like 10 niggas on Big Dang with a squad. They stop still when they see a bitch. I'm fat as fuck, but I'm fine.
While I do believe that it's important to be confident in your body, regardless of your size, and I do always speak about the importance of being in shape, being slim, and as an FYI, being slim does not mean like being skinny, like real thin. Okay, not everyone is going to have like a model's body type. I'm talking about having like a healthy BMI, and that varies depending on what your body composition is. I think it's great that, you be confident, you show up, you live life to the fullest, you experience what life has to offer you regardless of your size. It really is a waste to kind of pine away privately, being ashamed of who you are because maybe you don't have the aesthetic that you're hoping for. But at the same time, I think that when it comes to empowerment and having access to full range of opportunities, you are actually limited. When you center and make being big your entire identity, you're actually limited in terms of like talent and opportunities because that's all that you can talk about. I've listened to some of her songs. She actually raps and sings really well.
What an addiction, so high it come, can't put it all. But no love lost, no bridges burned. You live and you learn now. Hey, show me what I have been missing.
When I heard about this story at first, I thought it was going to be just another clout chasing person that's trying to make it big. And yeah, some people are saying that she is using this situation to clout chase, and that's neither here nor there. She actually, in my opinion, does have talent. Like, she reminds me of what like a true rapper sounds like. She has good flow. She's able to put lyrics together. They're very cohesive. She doesn't sound like the modern day rapper where they kind of just throw whatever together and it sounds like mumble rap, or it just sounds like every other rapper. She honestly reminds me of like an old school type of rapper like Lil Kim. And on top of that, again, like she sings really well. Like she has really good range. She's able to hold a note. She has a good melody. Like her voice sounds good. But in most of the music that I've heard her put out, if she's not talking about like a dysfunctional relationship, she's talking about being big. And you can only ride that wave and use that talking point for so long before people get tired of it. And while a good chunk of women can relate to her messaging, because 60% of Black women are overweight and 1 in 4 women in general in America are overweight, but after a while the messaging becomes redundant and repetitive because it highlights a message that many women would like to escape from and is therefore not actually that empowering. So it's like you get your little shot of dopamine, like, yeah, you know, another woman like Lizzo who kind of understands, she gets it, she empowers me, like I feel good in the moment. But long term, a lot of times these women the listeners kind of just listen to it temporarily for just short-term entertainment purposes, whatever. And then they go back to listening to the music of women who they want to look like, women who are more in shape and more slim. And oftentimes, a lot of these women, whether they want to admit it or not, some of them will outwardly say like, yeah, you know, I'm working to lose weight and this is my fitness inspiration. They'll pull up like some random fitness influencer and say like, this is the body type that I'm trying to go for. We have similar body composition. They will never say, my body goal is Lizzo. My body goal is Dank Demoss. Even if they're big, like they'll say like, you know, I feel confident in my body and I love being a BBW or an SBBW. But when you ask them if they're honest about what their body goal is, they will never say, I want to stay this way. I want to stay looking like Dank Demoss or Lizzo. They will say things like the average fitness influencer or celebrity. Because whether we want to admit it or not, people realize that being overweight can limit you, not just in terms of like whether or not you can fit into a car, a ride share, but in terms of access to the benefits that come with looking good, with being pretty. And yes, again, being pretty is subjective. I'm not just talking about your face and how it looks, but beauty is also attached to your size. This goes for both men and women. Both men and women, if they're honest, will tell you that you get more respect, you're taken more seriously, you're invited to more opportunities, if you will, whether formally or informally, when you are in shape as opposed to when you are overweight. And that's simply because society, including bigger people as well, tend to respect those who have the discipline to keep themselves in shape.
Fat old black ass nigga. Looks matter. They matter. I just turned 40 this past March, and one of my biggest regrets is not realizing just how important looks are and how much your appearance matters in this world. Human beings are naturally superficial. It's a part of our biology. It's ingrained in us. We can't help it. We are biased toward treating people who look good better. It's just the facts of life. The faster you realize this and the faster you accept this, the better off you will be in the long run. There are a lot of aspects about yourself that you can't change, but the ones that you can, change them as quickly as possible while you are still young and you have the energy, the flexibility, the agility, the time, and the resources to really work on yourself and your appearance. I'm working on my stuff right now as we speak. I've had a number of health setbacks over the years, but I can tell you that getting on social media and seeing all the reactions that I have gotten to my appearance, not that it has had a psychological impact on me in a way, because I'm fundamentally aware of the fact that, I'm overweight. But I think for me, it was kind of bittersweet just seeing the reaction, because it's like you just realize that as human beings, we just can't help but to be judgmental and to be superficial. And there's no use in trying to fight that. And if you really want to mitigate the stress of constantly worrying about your appearance, work on it. Because it is a fixable issue for most people. For the vast majority of people, it's fixable. You just got to work on it. You just got to take the time, sit down, do your due diligence, and put in the time and effort to really work on your appearance and how you want others to perceive you. Physically, that is. Now, your personality, it's a whole different story. I'm only talking about looks in this particular context. So that being said, if you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s, while you still have the energy, while you still have the time, because you may not have kids and a wife yet, please work on yourself. And even after you have kids and a wife, still work on yourself. Work on yourself. Keep up with your appearances, because people are going to judge you whether you want them to or not. So it's just facts of life. There's no use in complaining about it. There's no use in trying to, make videos on TikTok, trying to get other people to, rally against, body shaming, or we got to be more blah, blah, blah. No, just stop. There's no point. It is what it is. Looks matter.
And it's not about whether or not it's fair. It's just the way that society is wired. It's been like that for generations, and it'll continue to be like that because people associate, again, looking good with your body size. And so Dank Demoss's messaging will only be appealing for so long because, again, the whole body positivity movement is being challenged. More overweight celebrities are opting to lose weight, become slimmer. There's like a spike in the use of Ozempic. It's like become more mainstream, even though Ozempic is nothing new. It's been around for decades. And we're seeing this shift because, again, people want to benefit from the privileges that come with being in shape. And even more so, now that we are kind of shifting from a left-leaning point of view where people are kind of like, okay, it was fun for the short period of time, but now I no longer want to be associated with the delusions that come from blindly being woke. I kind of want to align with reality, because reality is what's going to get me real results. I want to look at the facts. I want to look at the way that things are. I want to take things for the way that they are and then be able to navigate life accordingly. I don't want to be lied to or deceived anymore, being told and thinking that I'm going to benefit from something when, there's limitations in the messaging that you are telling me. I'm not getting the results that you promised me in being bigger or in the woke culture, as they call it. And so a lot of people are starting to detach from that messaging and are now looking to face reality so that they can survive. And a part of that is using whatever privileges, skills, resources that you have to get ahead, so that not only can you survive, but you can compete against people that are now competing for the same very limited resources. And a part of that is making sure that your body is in shape so that you can get access to more resources, whether on a micro level, it's being taken seriously at work so that you're not overlooked for promotions, or on a larger scale, being able to benefit from modeling gigs. Like before, we used to have plus size models. That was a thing that was widely accepted. And now people are starting to go back to a more traditional form of beauty in the modeling scene. And if you do not align with that, you are gonna be left out. You're no longer gonna benefit from the more left-leaning perspective that was in the industry for some time. So Dank may be able, and it feels so weird calling her Dank, but like that's the name that she's given herself. She may be able to get some clout from this or even make a profit for a short while, but the appeal will eventually wear off when another story grabs people's attention and her audience gets tired of being reminded that they are fat and are limited, which is also one of the reasons why we don't really hear much from Lizzo. I know that Lizzo had some things going on before with some accusations, but even before that, her music wasn't as mainstream because the appeal wore off. It's not something, her messaging was not something that people aspire to be. People connect with rappers like Glorilla, singers like Tyla, because they look good. Even Sexy Red, Sukiana, like, I don't like their music. I think it's ratchet. Those girls look good. Those girls are in shape. I mean, I don't like the wigs and the lashes. I think they look ridiculous, but people would much rather align with that aesthetic because they are in shape than to align with Lizzo and Dank Demoss's aesthetic. No one is aspiring to look like that. I'm sorry. Not even women who already look like that. They want to align with the girls who are in shape because they know that those girls get more opportunities. And I think that Dank realizes that there is more to gain from being smaller, and that's why she's trying to pick up a fitness routine in order to benefit from this. Because honestly, if she truly was okay with being bigger, she didn't think that there was anything wrong with it, including, you know, the health issues that you can have, then she would just stay that way. I think that Dank also realizes the limitations associated with being bigger, because she explains on a number of occasions that she thinks that she's skinny in her mind. And if her being her size was all that she and others claim it was to be, and she truly was proud of being a BBW, she wouldn't be admitting that she disassociates by daydreaming essentially about being smaller.
My body right now is like my mind don't know that I'm this big. My mind does not know that I'm this big. So I be feeling like I can do everything. So when I walk in the gym, I feel like I'm fit. Or like if I'm trying to do certain shit, I feel like I could do it. And then I be like, damn, I can't do this shit. But in my head, I'm like, damn, I could do that. So I'm gonna walk over there. Shit, I be going in the gym in front of all those people, 500 pounds in shorts, no shirt. Well, I have on a sports bra, but you know.
So if you truly were confident and comfortable in your body, you wouldn't waste your time worrying about what the skinny girls got going on, because they don't actually have the body that you want. But because you know that that's not true, and that those girls actually do have something that you want, maybe it's access to more men, even though people will say that, oh, attention from men doesn't matter. Well, to some people it does, because some women want to date men. Or if it's for the simple fact that she'll be regarded by society as beautiful, that's something that she wants. And so there is an aspect of jealousy in that, because even though she's in the gym, I don't know if she's consistently in it, but even though she has indicated that she would like to maintain a fitness routine, she still does not have the body type that she is aspiring to have, despite her significant weight loss. And so there's still that aspect of, I want what you have. And unfortunately, this young lady and many like her are the butt of people's jokes, and very seldom do people take them seriously, because being overweight, again, as I mentioned earlier, is equated to being lazy. So people are less likely to sympathize with her.
I saw you fall the other day on stage.
Yeah, that was like 2017. That was
I
cute.
didn't know that. Oh, okay,
It was
okay.
cute.
I just popped out because of everything going on.
It was real cute though. Oh my God.
And this is a similar experience with artists like Lizzo and even Amy Schumer, Monique as well, and other plus size actresses who kind of made their size their identity. They were kind of praised as like the stereotypical fat girl, but then they realized that their whole persona only exists for other people's entertainment. And yes, they are entertainers, but it only goes that far. They're never really centered as objects of desire. And yes, women are not objects, I know, but in the entertainment industry, unfortunately, female artists and singers and actresses are treated as objects. They are treated as objects of desire, role models for people to look up to. They kind of uphold the standards of what is acceptable in society and what is unacceptable. And so if you're kind of on the wrong side of things, you can only go so far. They always kind of have that like caricature of like being the jester, kind of always clowning around, making jokes that are kind of not funny, but people laugh because they're bigger. But then once they stop jesting, people stop paying attention, which is also why I believe that Lizzo has put her music on hold. She hasn't officially announced it, but we haven't heard anything new recently. And she's focusing on her weight loss. She is rebranding. Amy Schumer did the same thing. Rebel Wilson did the same thing. Monique did the same thing. They kind of put their work on hold, they lose weight, and then they come back to work as a new and improved version of themselves. with the hopes that they can now benefit from the privilege that they weren't able to access before when they were bigger. So with Dank, honestly, like, again, this whole lift situation is going to die out. And especially if she loses this lawsuit, the appeal is going to wear off. People are going to say, okay, what next? What else do you have to bring to the table? And we're probably not going to hear much about her unless she loses a lot of weight and comes out with some music. And her music, aside from her talking about like dysfunctional relationships, and she rebrands herself as like a smaller individual, she doesn't center being big in her music, she could have a good chance of making a decent enough living as a rapper. And many people don't realize, just as an aside, many people don't realize that obesity often stems from trauma. And I suspect that this young lady had suffered from some form of trauma. Yes, we all do, and is still grappling with it. And now she has to deal with the trauma that comes with being big. Okay, getting to just under 600 pounds isn't something that happens naturally, even with the most unhealthy diet, and usually stems from many unhealthy behaviors that accumulate and are used as coping mechanisms. So that could be binge eating and other disorders because you felt bad for being shamed for your size at a young age instead of being taught about proper diet and nutrition, or turning to food as comfort if you had no other support system as a child, especially like if you kind of lived in an unstable situation growing up. Food is readily available, especially junk food is something that is very appealing to young people. And if it's something that's readily available in the home, then that's something that, you know, people can easily turn to get an escape. Or she simply just learned these behaviors that were passed down. If unhealthy eating habits and lifestyle choices were modeled in the home and she wasn't exposed to healthy lifestyle changes, then she honestly won't know how to relate to anything else because she simply wasn't taught. And then now as an adult, having to undo decades of unhealthy thinking patterns that then leads to unhealthy lifestyle choices is really, really difficult for many people to do, which is why a lot of people who are overweight or that size, not only are they encouraged to go to a nutritionist or a doctor that specializes in obesity, but they're also encouraged to speak to a therapist who can help them navigate the issues and the traumas that got them to that place in the first place. And the fact that Dank constantly raps about getting back with her ex kind of signals a history of unhealthy relationship patterns. Like, girl, that relationship, he's your ex for a reason. That relationship ended for a reason. And this is a mentality that a lot of women have when they don't have healthy relationship habits. They tend to go back to what's familiar, even if what was familiar was unhealthy and not safe for her. And this again can stem from a lack of self-worth and settling for anyone who will have her, especially if you're rejected. Let's face it, when you are bigger, you are going to be rejected by society because society does not like fatness. And so if you're kind of in that position or you have similar experiences with rejection, you're going to kind of settle for whoever is willing to be your friend, whoever is willing to be with you romantically, even if that person kind of just has a fetish or they didn't actually take the time to get to know you as an individual, they're just with you to satisfy their lusts, then you're kind of always on the short end of the stick because you're not having a fulfilling relationship where the person actually loves you for who you are. They just love what you represent. And that's a very real experience for a lot of BBWs. Dank also shared that she was not allowed to say the word fat in her home, which means that she was probably raised in a household that practiced avoidance rather than addressing issues head on. And that could also look like if there's an issue, you know, the parent would kind of shut down and get angry at everyone and the kids and kind of take it out on the kids instead of them regulating their own emotions on their own. And this could have also been done so that Dank and like others in the home wouldn't feel bad about being big, but this is just the ostrich effect, I like to call it, and it doesn't actually make the issue go away. So it's kind of like where like an ostrich sticks their head in the sand and then they can no longer see you, so they think that the threat is gone, not realizing that, you know, others can see you sticking your head in the sand. Just because you ignore something doesn't mean that it no longer exists, and depending on the issue, it can actually make matters worse if not addressed. such as weight. Avoiding the word fat is technically enablement because not only are you ignoring the issue, but you're not working to correct it, so you're indirectly encouraging the person to keep going with the behaviors that are keeping them big. So now she kind of has to work harder to undo these habits that were instilled in her, paired with unlearning the unhealthy coping mechanisms that contributed to her getting bigger. And as an aside, I actually think that Dank is a pretty girl. Yes, you can be fat and pretty at the same time. I don't think that both are mutually exclusive, for those who were wondering. And I honestly think that she would be considered above average beauty if she were to lose weight and allow her bone structure to come through. Looking at her face, and this is no shade, but when you have excess fat in your face, it hides your bone structure, and so it makes your features less prominent, especially if you have higher cheekbones. And so for Dank, like, her facial features are still visible despite the excess weight, which isn't common for people who are overweight. Think about yourself, like when you've put on a little bit of extra weight or your face is just puffy, as attractive compared to when like your face is more defined, which is why people say, I want my face to look sculpted, I want to look snatched, because they realize that looking snatched and looking sculpted brings out your features, which then brings out your beauty. But for Dank, you can actually still see her features. So just imagine what she's gonna look like if and when she loses the excess weight. She also has beautiful skin. And no, I'm not saying that, you know, she has pretty skin because she's lighter skinned, for those who want to take it there. She just naturally has a glow about her that you typically will not have when you are unhealthy. Even if you are like smaller, you can also be unhealthy and not have a glow. But she has a really, really nice complexion. Like, she has really good genes, you can tell, in the skin department. So she doesn't have to work as hard to have glowing skin that many women use multiple products and spend hundreds of dollars to achieve. So Dank girl, if you're listening, people from her team, I don't know, keep, you know, trying to lose weight, and you know, the possibilities are endless. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about this one down below in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Memberships are now live on this channel. Click the link in the description box to sign up to receive access to exclusive content and perks.